everyone, welcome to the Dumbass Podcast. I am Winter.
I am Zach Goldpickman.
And I am Glitchmaster Phase.
Well, it's been a little bit since it hasn't actually been that long since we've done before, as you know.
Yeah.
We do a small talk section.
We're going to get to the topic afterwards. So, last episode we did trends, and I feel like the small talk segment is a good buffer to talk about some stuff that may have slipped our mind last time.
True.
And for me, I did have one, and I was pretty mad when I found out that I forgot about it. Last time we did trends, and I forgot this one, because I also had it planned before going in, and then forgot in the middle of the episode. So, I want to talk about a trend that I have a personal grudge against. And it's the stupid, you get like $1 billion, but there's the immortal snail trying to kill you.
Oh, that's right.
You hate it because it's overused in memes.
What are you talking about?
So, for those of you who are unaware, there's like this trend where you get like $1 million or like $1 billion.
It's not a trend, though.
That's just do you press the button or not?
Yeah, it's like a will you press the button question.
It counts as a trend if people use it in literally every fucking thing they ever make.
I think you're just mad at it for no reason.
It's a trend.
If anything, memes themselves are kind of trends as well.
Yeah, that's true.
It's been
But the reason why is because it's like, who got high on their goddamn toilet and came up with this bullshit?
Rooster Teeth, a highly respected YouTube channel.
So,
I thought you said from their toilet.
So
yes, my toilet gets me high.
Yeah, probably that's exactly how it happened. So they made
don't blame them for its shitty overuse, because they just came up with it like in a series they had, talked about it for less than 3 minutes, and moved on.
I'm not blaming them. You're jumping to accusations here.
That's what I do. I'm an American.
Yeah.
We're all
That
Americans.
was so depressing.
Yeah. Yeah. Now live with it. Listen to yourself.
Among Us.
There you go.
Anyways.
So, but yeah, people just took it way too far, and it's like people out here making stupid and then they try and make it with other memes to make it seem cool again, but it's not.
There's been some cool animations of it, though. Like, people actually putting time for it. And, yeah. Anyways.
Why are you trying to just jump to make it seem like I know that was a thing, and I'm attacking it?
Oh, I figured you did know that was a thing.
Strike two, America.
Or
So, people they've taken it too far, and it's like, so the general premise is you get a lot of money, but there's like this snail that will kill you on touch and always has the resources to get to you. I have a solution to your stupid prompt, you overusers of the meme. I'm gonna go to Hawaii, and when that thing's on the beach, I'm gonna go out with a 9-iron, punt the bitch into the coral reef. A fish is gonna eat it, and even if it is immortal and has what it needs to reach me, it's still gonna have to wait for the fish to die, and before that it'll probably get eaten by another fish, and then another fish. It's gonna be out there forever. Take that.
But still, it'll still eventually catch up. Because that's how it do. Drop the mic.
I refuse.
Got him.
No.
Anyways.
No.
Anyways.
Coral reef, end of story, that's it.
Okay.
So,
Have it your way, Big Mac man.
says the heaviest person in the room.
Wow, that was shitty. Oh.
If you're gonna bring the Louisiana sweet heat, I'm gonna clap back.
Wow, I see how this episode's gonna go. You're lucky we both know the topic today. And also everyone listening, because it's the name of the episode.
Alright, what was it you wanted?
Oh, so I had like some personal stuff happen. So as both of you know, me and my friend Anthony, we started dating recently, and some stuff, because they're the ones that, if any of you listening have seen some of Hedwig's related videos, they're the ones that drew that awesome drawing of Hedwig that I use as a thumbnail in Puppy Eyes if Hedwig took LSD, which isn't a very good video to have it be represented, but still. But they've been helping me with a lot of stuff. They are going to be doing some artwork for the Family of Evil series, which I know some of y'all, I've talked about this briefly on the channel before. It's, my character Casper, he's getting his own series, and I'm having him do poster work, fake advertisements and stuff. So yeah, just some personal stuff that I had going on. Super gay. Nate, you got anything?
No, not really.
Wow, boring.
I know, I'm not exactly. Despite the fact that I feel pumped up for today's episode, but for whatever reason, I'm never pumped up when it comes to these talking sections.
I mean, it's just up there. So, well, why don't we get into the topic then?
Alright, well, before we do, just remember, everyone, if someone brings up a stupid killer snail, send a 9-iron to their teeth.
Oh,
Alright.
Anyways, today's topic is things that piss us off, and that can go for anything. This might be a more lengthy episode. We're recording this at 9:30 at night, and odds are it'll be 7 a.m. when we're done. Not really, but there's a lot of things that piss us off. And because I presented this topic, because there's a very specific thing that's been happening recently that I really want to talk about. If you're alright, if you guys are alright with me sharing that.
Yeah.
So, part of it. So, for all of you that don't know, I work at a hospital in the place that we live. Don't say the name, because no one needs to know that. But basically, my job in said hospital is delivering laundry to the 5 floors of the hospital, which is it's a simple job. It's sure, it's a lot of work because we don't really ever sit down, and that's not the frustrating part because I've lost weight because of it, so it's probably a good thing for me. But I tell you, I have.
Just open it.
Just open it. Nate was opening a fucking soda bottle so quote-unquote stealthily. Anyways, I tell you, I have never met anyone so ungrateful in a work environment as goddamn nurses. I tell you, they... and I'm gonna get so pissed talking about this, because there's so much shit I'd love to be able to say straight fucking to them, but I would lose my job. So I cannot. So I'll say it here.
And then,
basically.
And then play it out loud while you walk to the hospital.
Yo, sorry, my bad. I guess my headphones weren't plugged in all the way. Anyways, it's yes, I get everyone. And the thing is, let me start by saying, the nurses look down on our department and the, fuck, I forget, it's mostly just delivering departments. We deliver linen, and the other people, stock there, the needles and stuff, all the stuff that's necessary to run the hospital. And the reason I get so pissed is because they're so goddamn ungrateful and treat us like shit because we're technically, and I guess really are, we are a lower unit because we're at the lowest floor of the hospital. But they treat us like shit, and I don't think they realize that they could not fucking care for their patients if we didn't bring them their goddamn clothes. Each unit in that hospital needs the other one to work. There is no under, over. Everyone needs each other to be able to do the goddamn job, and it upsets me so much because we are forced to have a good attitude about it, not say anything in return when they say things first. And I'm going to tell you, I'm guilty of not doing that. Because you guys know me, I very, very rarely have an instant comeback to an argument. I can't say the same thing about a thing that happened recently. Unfortunately, I don't remember exactly what I said, and I usually have my headphones in when I'm on the floor, so I don't fucking have to hear their bullshit. But there's sometimes where, I'll run out, like, my cart will run out of, like, stuff before I can, like, finish, like, the last area, you know? Like, understandable, because each unit needs, like, sometimes a lot of some stuff. And there was this time where it's just like, and it's always the 4th floor of this fucking hospital. Some evils were at the 4th fucking floor. And I tell you, there was, like, this one area, it's called 4 West, where I was out of towels and I was out of IV gowns, which is usually like the blue and green gowns you see most people in, like if they're in a room at the hospital. I was out of those, so I'm like, crap, I gotta go back down and get them, because, yes, I'm aware, that's my job, so of course I'm gonna do it. This nurse comes up to me, and I was in the middle of changing my song, or else I wouldn't have heard her. She's like, you need to stock this better. Like, you know how pissed I get when people yell at me. I tell you, I really wish I could remember exactly what I said, but all I remember is what I said fucking left her speechless. And the thing is, I think she told my boss fucking sided with me.
Really?
My boss sided with me because he fucking knows that they're pieces of shit.
Wow.
He ain't gonna tell our supervisor about it because he fucking agrees with me. I'm lucky to have the very rare case that I have a boss that's usually always on my side, unless I do something fucking actually stupid, which hasn't happened yet. Like, if unfortunately I'm going to kill one of these nurses, I'm sure he might have a little bit of a problem with that. But,
I mean,
basically, I think, like, because he called me into his office, and I'm like, oh, great, am I in trouble for something? And he's like, so one of the nurses called and said you said something to her, and I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it, I'm not going to say anything, because it sounded fair to me. Is pretty much exactly what he said.
Wow.
So because I was like, God, I'm gonna be in a fucking bad mood the rest of the day. And then my boss said that. I'm like, what the fuck? I am invincible. You can't do shit to me, mortal.
I am inevitable.
Exactly. But, like, goddamn, it was so... And I want to hear your guys' stories that are somewhat similar to this. They don't have to necessarily end in relief like mine did, but just things that piss you guys off. Just goddamn... Ugh. It's a good topic, I think.
Well, aside from like 90% of the internet, I have, for me, it's mostly like small things, but I do have one idea.
Okay.
So, and this is probably a rant I'm actually going to make a separate video about later on.
Okay.
But I don't mind saying it here for people who may not visit my channel regularly that are listening to this.
Alright.
So, as anyone who's listening to this may know, there's a game that has been out since December. It's Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach.
Mm-hmm.
And something that pisses me off is when people jumping way too quick into, like, hating the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, you said you've seen YouTubers that actively voice hatred for it, and, like, there are a lot of people that outrage it, and it's like, yeah, you could have the argument where it's like, oh, everyone has their opinions, but it's like, well, here's my interjection. How about you actually try?
Because I do believe if you voice your opinion like you don't like a game, but if you're not a dickhead about it, then it's okay.
It's not even that. Some of these people just don't try. So
yeah.
let me argue, because some of the outrages with security, which mostly have to do with, oh, the game is buggy a lot, and it's like, you know, here's my thing. Instead of just hating the game with all your heart, if you want the game to be better, help make it better. Tell Steelwool about the bugs. They're gonna see what you say, and they will eventually get to it.
There were so many people that I saw complaining right away. I'm like, do you not realize the game? This is a huge game. It just released. Of fucking course there's gonna be bugs. Goddamn, have some patience.
Even most games, when they first release, they're gonna have a few bugs in there. Here and there.
They've actively been fixing most of them. So I don't get why they gotta be so fucking bitchy about it.
It's cause like, and what's worse is like, I'm almost 90% sure anyone who complains are people who like security breach is like their first like intimate experience with FNAF. Like
Probably,
they didn't
yeah.
like they never really looked into FNAF before, and security breach was like their first experience, and they're probably the ones that are the complainers. Now, granted, there are exceptions, like. Because, like, I've seen die-hard FNAF YouTuber. Like, I'm not going to name the guy, but I have one guy in my mind in particular. He does, like, FNAF news a lot, and he tries to, like, speak his mind for the better of FNAF, but he also actively hates security breach. I'm like, bro, do your fucking job as a FNAF fan and help the game get better.
Yeah.
Don't just shit on it.
Yeah.
Like...
And I think a lot of people hate it because, like, it's quote-unquote not... I mean, it's tied with FNAF 3 for being the least scariest FNAF game. And, like, I get that, but that's no reason to shit on it.
Yeah. Like, okay, so here's the thing. It's not like you don't feel dread 24/7, but
No.
I'm like anyone who says it's not scary, like period, I'm gonna call bullshit.
There's some really scary
I've
sections.
had plenty of moments in that game where if I had a heart monitor, the thing would be the loudest part of the room.
Yeah.
Like
I remember when we first did the Sun and Moon section, that was fucking tense as shit.
yeah.
That was really scary.
When I replayed the game to get my second ending, I had to do that segment again. And even though I knew where every generator was that time, and Steelwool added the bonus of the wires now glowing, making it easier, my heart was pumping.
He's a scary animatronic because it's something we've never really seen before.
And you died like 10 or 20 times.
Yeah. I mean, well, in me and Zach's first playthrough, like we said, like we played it as fucking soon as the game came out, so we had no idea what the fuck we're doing, and eventually had to look up a tutorial to help us. Really wish I could have credited that guy, but I couldn't find his video, so if you're out there, thank you.
And you know what? Not even like just like, and this just goes to show like the evolution of people. If this was like 10 years ago, then people would have responded reasonably and helped the game get better. But because over time people are getting so used to having everything spoon-fed to them all at once, they feel like if a game is not well put together, they just automatically assume, oh, they don't care. But, like, no, that's wrong. It's just part of the game dev process.
And it just came out, man.
And you know
Give it
what?
some time.
And you know what, FNAF fans who hate security breach, I'll do you one better. How about you make a game as big as that one and have it have less bugs?
Exactly.
You do better.
And that was just like a huge deal for FNAF, because it's always been this indie game, and it's on this huge thing, like on the PlayStation 5, on... It became this huge thing. Like, of course it's gonna have bugs. No game like that doesn't. Like, I don't get it. And I do agree that like it's not. It is scary at parts. It's not as scary as some of the other games, but it's still a good game. Like, and the reasons I constantly see people for hating on it, just like, I feel like that's not a reason to hate it. Like you can still enjoy something.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, basically what I'm saying is most of the people that hate security breach are not actually doing their part. Like, you could do so much better. Instead of shitting on it, help the game get better. You want the game to be better, help it get better. Like, and if you think it's not part of your job, then just get out of our fandom.
Yeah.
A game is not just the people that make it, it's the people that play it too.
Yeah.
If you want the game to be better, help it be better.
Voice your like thoughts on this, like help them create it better.
It's called constructive criticism.
Exactly.
Just say what's wrong, say that you're understanding, and
don't be a dick about it when you're saying it either, because that's also a problem that happens.
Yeah, so like
you can like respectfully voice your opinion. I know people of the internet, that's you think that doesn't exist. But yes, you can respectfully voice your opinion even if like it's something you're not very passionate about, you can still say it respectfully.
Yeah, you need to help the game get better. Like, respectfully voice your opinion. Give the devs suggestions. Point out things they probably missed, and that's why the bugs are there. Give them suggestions. They'll listen to you. They'll give it to you, and everyone can be happy. But no, because it's the internet in 2022, well, I guess 2021 at the time, but people just feel the need to, when they see even remotely one small issue, they feel the need to, metaphorically, spread their anus to the maximum 8-inch and shit on it with like 50 times their body weight.
Yeah.
So, like, if you want a prime example, look at me when I play the game. When I find issues, I know it's because, they just probably didn't think about it at the time. Mm-hmm. Because as a game developer myself, I know these things happen. And, like,
I think that's why it also hits close to home with us, since we make games. We know there can be troubles like these, so seeing people that completely fucking uneducated complaining about things like that are a natural thing to happen in game progress, I think it especially pisses us off.
Yeah, so, and like, as of now, as of the recording of this, I'm the one who has to do most of the programming, mm-hmm. So I also just deeply vibe with this.
Yeah.
But, like, you want the game to be good, help it be good, and it's like, people can do so much better.
Exactly.
And like, if you think you're so much better than the game, then how about you make a better game?
Exactly. I don't know how to make a game. Exactly.
So, fuck off.
Exactly.
And it's like, but like I was saying, if you want an example of constructive criticism, look at me when I played the game. Mm. I saw issues, like, for example, we saw the daycare tin. Once we were done with it, like, yeah, we got angry in the moment, but we moved past it, gave actual constructive tips, and then we let it be gone.
Yeah.
And what do you...
Being angry in the moment of something that's a little frustrating is completely okay, but don't fucking think that's the entire game. Like, it's not all going to be like that.
Yeah, if you experience some glitches, it might make you angry in the moment. But, like, if you just persevere, get past it, you can then just... like we did. We calmed down after we got past it, and then we voiced a constructive criticism and moved past it.
Yep. And we enjoyed the game at the end. See, it's not hard.
The only issue I actually have with Security Breach that I might actually sometimes get pretty mad about is when the game is not clear of where exactly you have to go.
Yeah, that is sometimes the thing that
where the hell are you supposed to go kind of game.
Yeah, so... And granted, it might be just because I don't... It might also be because I personally just don't check the map that much.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I might just be missing a marker of where I have to go. But sure. But still, in Security Breach, you have a thing like up in the like upper left, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
That like tells you your next mission, and I think a great detail that Steelwolf should work on is changing a lot of those missions to like specifically state where you have to go.
Yeah.
Like for example, in my second playthrough I went to Fazer Blast instead of Monty Golf. Mm-hmm. So I had to do Bonnie Bowling, and if you do Bonnie Bowling, you find the Monty mix to like disassemble Chica. Mm-hmm. And it's like, tear Chica, the mission says, tear Chica apart in the garbage disposal. But what it doesn't do is tell you where that is.
Yeah.
And, like, that's probably the only thing I'd ever actually get mad about when it comes to Security Breach.
Like, it could be a little more clear with the directions, but still.
But even then, here's what I did. When I edited that video, I deliberately went through, took out the parts where I was screaming because I was angry in the moment, and then did a playthrough section where I actually constructively addressed the issue. You can professionally handle a situation, and you can do better. Like, yeah, I experience problems when I play Security Breach sometimes. I know to simply state the issue properly so that Steelwolf can fix it, and when they do, hey, the game's better.
Yeah, exactly.
I played a part. I did what I should do.
You don't have to be a dickhead about everything.
And keep in mind that we're just using Security Breach as an example. Chances are things like this have happened with other games too.
Yeah.
Now, and here's the thing. It also helps to know who's making the game.
Mm-hmm.
If you're dealing with game devs that are actually like a AAA company, then jumping to the idea that they might not care as much is a little more reasonable.
Yeah.
Because face it, AAA companies can be pretty cash grabby.
Yeah.
EA.
Like, here's a prime example. It's a common meme that Cyberpunk 77 or whatever it was is like
2077.
2077 is like really, it's like borderline unplayable, and at that point, a little bit of rage is understandable.
I have the game actually.
But like, if a game is like borderline unplayable and it's past where it says, "Oh, this is a demo," then yeah, sometimes in scenarios like that, it's fine to get a little bit.
Completely understandable. Even.
It's fine to get a little bit suspicious of how much they actually cared. But people who actually would know FNAF and dare call themselves a FNAF fan knows that Scott and anyone he works with actually cares about the games.
Exactly. That's why the movie's still taking a long time. It's because Scott wants the movie to be good. So you know he cares.
Yeah. But like,
I want to see the movie with you guys.
We definitely will. Don't
Yeah.
worry about that.
that's what, yeah, so like, anyone who dares call themselves a FNAF fan knows that Scott and anyone he works with actually cares about the game. And if you just handle it professionally, then yeah, you can help solve the problem. But I've seen people who have like I said, I've seen YouTubers who make tons of videos on FNAF. They've played FNAF games for their channel before, or they do a lot of news for FNAF, and they still don't approach Security Breach criticism professionally. And personally, I think that's on you at that point.
Yeah.
It's like if you're gonna devote yourself to FNAF, then actually know what it means to be a FNAF fan.
Yeah.
Remember that, yes, they care, these issues just happen.
And like, there have been some times where I have seen people that gave like legitimate answers as to why they're, and it's like people that give like reasonable answers don't say they hate the game. They just say like it's not really for me. Like I'm not a fan of like the free roam. Like the like too like missionary stuff, like, and I can understand that.
Had a little fun in the beginning, kind of fell off.
Yeah. Like I can understand that, and they're not an asshole about it. They're like most people that said that still played the game and still liked it pretty much, but they like the basic stuff, and I can understand that.
And here's another.
There's nothing wrong with simplicity.
Yeah.
And here's another thing with video game criticism. Even if you don't personally like the style of, if the style of a game doesn't vibe with you, that doesn't mean you can't acknowledge it as good.
Yeah.
I've seen games where and most of these are like massive like multiplayer games. This is like for me like really massive multiplayer games that are like span hundreds of, like there's a lobby and you see like hundreds of players walking around. It's like I'm never gonna play any of those games, but I'm not gonna deny like they're probably good.
Yeah, I've played some multiplayer games like that, and given playing with the right people that aren't assholes, they can be pretty fun, but that's not really my kind of game. They can be fun, though.
Yeah, I'm not just gonna say, oh, they made a bad game.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, I don't like it, so no one can. Something that I have been guilty of in the past, but I think I've gotten better about.
Yeah.
Because, fun fact for y'all, I used to fucking hate Deltarune, and now I have many have bought many stuff from it.
He was just fiddling around with his Rousey plushies.
Yeah, I was fixing
Yeah.
their scarves.
Other than that issue, though, I do have like a couple other pet peeves.
Okay.
One of them and this is one you know very much I'm passionate about, is when people like unironically think about stuff like very broad ideas that have been used for a game, but then they automatically assume that game invented it. Like, for example, and no joke, this is an actual chain on Twitter I've seen, and it was very reasonably found in a compilation of the dumbest tweets.
Sounds about right.
So, it was a tweet where someone... So, have you two heard the phrase, calm before the storm before?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, yeah, you see, it's a common phrase. Everyone knows it.
Yeah.
But some dumbass thought the storm, someone just made, they replied to, a post with that quote, and some dumbass replied thinking it was a Fortnite reference because of the term, the storm. And rightfully, someone replied to them was what they said, quote, was calm before the storm is a term that predates Fortnite, right?
Yeah, it's just the term Fortnite is a reference to a time thing. So goddamn, people don't know that.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
The word Fortnite is a term for a 14-day period.
Yeah.
Though, in that context, night is actually spelled like night, like the time of day.
Yeah.
N-I-G-H-T.
But god damn, whenever you can't even say that term around kids these days. It's oh, Fortnite real?
Yeah. So that's one of my pet peeves, and I frequently joke about it on videos too. I did it when we did our first Google feud.
The Bendy and the Ink Machine one.
Yeah. So, I guess one last pet peeve I'll talk about that makes me mad is when people just overextend their jokes. Mm-hmm. And no, see, because this is a thing. I've had many situations where I've I've gotten into a joke with someone. It's they say something stupid, I call them out for their bullshit. I expect after that for both of us to just laugh. Mm-hmm. But I've had conversations with, and this has happened with multiple people, I've had conversations where they keep trying to defend what they said as if they're making an actual argument they're serious about.
I'm guilty of that.
And then I start thinking, oh, they're being serious, so I start legitimately arguing with them, and then they get mad because they're the ones overextending and making it sound like a real argument. It's bitch, when I call you out, just laugh if you're telling a joke. That's not a joke at that point. You're just starting an argument.
Mm-hmm. I can't say much because I know I'm guilty of doing that a few times.
Yeah, and I accidentally hit you for it one time.
I know, I remember. Well, see, because now we can look back on that shit and fucking laugh our asses off at it.
Yeah. And, I didn't... And, the reason I accidentally hit him was because I was just trying to go for something that was in his hand, but I missed.
Yeah.
And, obviously when I felt that I hit his face, I immediately apologized.
Yeah.
But, it's every time I get into, this scenario with people, they're oh, can't you just take a joke? It's motherfucker, a joke is when you tell the punchline and then you laugh, not when you say it 50 times over, actually making an argument.
Yeah. Yeah. I do agree. I'm just glad, because me, Zach, and Nate, we don't really hold fucking grudges on each other. Sometimes we will get into fucking legitimate arguments about some shit, but we fucking passes. You don't have to be a douchebag about it and just hold grudges and shit. Because there have been some huge things that the three of us have fucking battled in over the years sometimes, but look at us. The three of us are still here, aren't we? Nate, speak something. So they don't think you're a robotic voice.
Yeah.
He's here, guys, don't worry.
Yeah.
Trust me, I do occasionally talk. It's just you guys have been talking a whole lot.
I mean, do you have any stories to tell? Stuff that pisses you off?
I really I can sum up my entire school. I can sum up my entire childhood with 3 words. The school system.
I agree. I agree.
No, hold on. You actually just sparked an amazing debate with me.
Mainly, here's one really good story. This involves bullying.
I'll let you go first, and then I'm just gonna go ham on this one.
Oh boy.
Alright, middle school. I was in English class.
Uh-huh.
Alright. Then there's these kids, they were picking on me, and that kind of shit doesn't really bother me. I can handle a few jokes.
Mm-hmm.
But then it became assault.
That's when it goes too
This guy
far.
took the whiteboard cleaner, which was pretty much alcohol,
Mhm.
and he sprayed me. The first time it just got my clothes, no problem. Second time, got me a little bit on the skin. Third time, right into my fucking eyes.
Oh, see, that's the point where it's
and then the
like,
school
goes
do something
way-
about that? Fuck no!
Yeah, it's true.
It's
I
like,
will. I'm sorry. If someone did that to me, like there are people who have like picked on me before, and I'm just gonna say they were lucky they knew me when they did, because
You don't put up with that shit now.
Because if they met me when I had the attitude I have nowadays, they would actually be in the hospital.
Yeah.
you see, it's like when it comes to being bullied, they punish the victims more than the bullies.
Exactly.
Isn't the whole thing about those assemblies that we have that bullying is wrong? So,
School doesn't
why are you
give a
going to
shit.
come up with all that bullshit if you're just going to keep reprimanding the victims?
One thing I want to say really quick, because it's exactly like that. It was like after, like, I think it was a year. You might have still been in the school. You weren't. But, because, fun fact, all three of us went to the same school for a brief period of time. Either way, there was a situation where a freshman and a senior started the fight, beat the shit out of a freshman for fucking no reason other than the fact that I think he was a freshman. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a huge fan of freshmen. I'm not gonna go fucking beat the shit out of someone and put them in the hospital, which is what happened. And they fucking suspended the freshman because their logic is that it doesn't matter if you don't even fight back at all. If you're in a fight, you're out of here. And I don't know for sure if the parents were successfully able to sue the school, but I think they were to some degree, which, good. But, like, I think the senior went to jail, because, like, he put this kid in the hospital, and, like, they had the nerve to suspend the fucking freshman, too. Like, the freshman, I watched this happen, because, God, it was in one of my classes where there was, like, a fight fucking almost every day, and it's like, yeah, like, this school doesn't fucking give a shit. They don't want to deal with all that, so they just try to get rid of them both to get rid of the problem. And of course that's not going to work.
Yeah, you're gonna end up losing money because you get sued.
Like, the school we went to is just
Like,
fucking bullshit.
No joke. If like say in the future and like we have children, Lord knows if something like that happens to any of our kids,
Yeah.
not only am I gonna beat the shit out of the bully, but I'm also gonna charge my ass into the principal. I'm gonna tell them to shove it up their ass.
Yeah.
If they try and suspend my kid for being the victim of the situation,
Exactly.
I'm gonna make them shit in their pants, cry themselves to sleep that night.
I think the parents ended up pulling that kid out of the school was because it's like this. I mean, it's probably for the best because, like, I don't think I'd want to go back to that school after that. Like, that's fucking horrible. Because he, like, and as far as I didn't hear the whole conversation, but knowing freshman back then, I think I was like, what comes before? It was a junior. I was a junior because that's before senior, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a junior, and like I saw this big senior kid. Like, he looks like he's one of those ones that was held back a few years, so he was like fucking really tall, taller than most people. Goes up to this like short, like very much a child freshman, because there are like as a freshman you're like usually like only like I think like 13 or 14.
Yeah, about right.
So like. This kid is just sitting there talking to his friend, goes over, turns around, and punches him as hard as he can in the face. The kid falls to the ground, bleeding everywhere. The people are trying to call the principal, does not come. Teachers are like, I'm not getting involved with that. Like, kids had to break it up. Like, students had to break it up. Like, I feel bad because I really wanted to do something about it. I was one of the people that did call the principal, and eventually the principal did come because, like, fucking, like, goddamn. But, like, I'm not strong enough to break up a fight like that. Like, I wanted to do something, but I physically could not. But, like, students had to break it up and get him off of this kid that just started beating the shit out of him for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, ruthlessly. And it was a horrifying thing to witness.
You know, come to think about it, the proper word for school is more like juvenile prison.
It really is.
Try to think about this for a moment.
So,
Like-
yeah, go on. I have my own whole debate here.
Describe prison to me, and then describe school next to that.
God,
And
our
you can-
lunches
and you
alone
can-
would signify the
And
similarity.
it's kind of scary how similar they are.
I could confidently say after I left that high school, I don't remember a damn thing.
Like certain, younger people are put next to these much bigger dudes and women,
Uh-huh.
and all that shit. You're forced to follow a dress code. There's fights.
Sometimes.
There's
Sometimes. Not as strict as prison would be with that.
Yeah,
but
and-
I'm on board with you here.
and most things you're not even allowed to use. You're forced to. Not forced, but you have to eat all this stuff that they would call food. Yeah, I know some stuff is delicious, but
yeah.
majority of it is either mediocre or just shit.
Just real quick side thing. God, I miss the taco sticks. I never liked them in there, but I had
Taco sticks.
They had these taco stick things that I had because I was doing
Yeah.
summer school. I got to eat a bunch of those there, and goddamn, that's the one thing I miss.
Sounds like
only-
taquitos to me.
They kind of were, but they were huge.
I was lucky enough for junior and senior year. For me, I was lucky enough to be able to go to Tech and then VISPA because those schools were really nice. Because Tech was like a junior and senior only school, so anyone in there was mostly matured.
Yeah.
And when you applied for VISPA, you also had to have like a pretty good record too.
Yeah.
So anyone who was in there was not like a very like
Delinquent kid.
borderline criminal person.
Yeah.
And yeah, needless to say, for both of those years, there wasn't any kind of issue like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people who actually went to those schools
Have fucking common sense.
had like knew what humans were.
Yeah. I tell you, man, like just some of the fights that I witnessed there.
You can't
It's
even
fucking
be yourself
nuts.
in those situations.
No, you can't.
Because if you try to, you get the shit kicked out of you, or you
Mhm.
get suspended.
And I know for a fact that there were a lot of the like administration staff that like specifically, and it's really fucked up because, and I saw it so often. They specifically, speaking's hard. They specifically targeted people with mental illnesses or people that were in the LGBT community. Because fun fact, I don't want to say where we went to school because they don't need to know that. But let me just say the place that we went to school is. It's not the place that people like that. They're very homophobic there and shit. Like me growing up as like a gay kid, it's like, yeah, I don't like that. It's not fun when I get fucking actually made fun of by some of the staff. But it's like, it's just such a hostile environment. School is supposed to be a place where you're like supposed to actually learn something. You're supposed to feel safe when you're at school. I can confidently say that I never did when I was there.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating because, like, and then, like, when kids would go home and tell their parents, like, that's horrifying for the parents to hear. They don't want to hear that their kid is afraid to be at the school because they're afraid they're going to get hurt. That's horrible. Like, it's just so sad. Pain.
That's why more parents need to be like me, because like I said, if any of our kids get into an issue, or they like say something that is concerning, I will actually stop everything that I'm doing. I will go to the school, and I will make the staff fear for their lives.
Oh, I 100% believe you. And we had, like, because some high school, I don't know if all high schools are just ours because of the way it was. I don't know if your schools, like, had any, like, you know, the cops that were around. I know our base school did. They had, like, 2 or 3. There was this one that I know specifically hated me. He's very, very homophobic. He's one of those ones that like force religion on the people, and that's a whole other can of worms that I could get into, but I'm not gonna.
That's an actual violation of the United States' human rights.
I know that, and I don't think I think he still works there. Is what I'm trying to get at. Is he would always target me and would always think that I'm getting into shit just because of the person I was. And I never did get into shit. I never did anything illegal in the school. It's because he knew I was gay. I was out as gay because I felt like, God damn, I know now that was not the right thing to do. Like, I thought it'd be, you know, a safer thing to do, and I only told my close friends that I'm unfortunately, there's assholes that overhear things and basically spread whole school fucking knew. I was constantly bullied for it. I had to, like, work out a thing with the one administration staff that actually gave a shit, and that was the vice principal. Is that a term in a high school? Vice principal?
There's a vice principal.
I think it was the vice principal because I think they had a gay son that, like, was, like, graduated or whatever. So they were very understanding of me, and luckily, like, the rest of my senior year, I was able to go through it, you know, for the most part okay, because they were, like, constantly looking out for me, and it sucks because I think he was fired for something he was falsely accused of.
Yeah. Usually at the school, like, you know, the school you were at all 4 of those years.
Yeah.
The vice principal was usually during lunch. They were, like, in the cafeteria overlooking it.
Yeah, because I never ate in the cafeteria. I would always go to, like, the library or like, be on my own because, like, I'm not a social person. Like, I'm not trying to be around all these people, so he would always let me... I remember distinctly this one time, I just want to say this real quick, I remember distinctly this one time where I, like, because he gave me permission, like, and the librarian was also, she was pretty chill most of the time, like, and she let me, like, eat in there, and, like, usually I wouldn't eat lunch because I wasn't that hungry, but, like, he knows, and he's, like, one of the higher-ups, and the actual principal was okay with it, too. He was pretty okay, but the vice principal was mainly the one that helped me work all this out. And there was this one other administration lady who fucking did not like me for one reason or another. I don't fucking know what her problem was. She's like, what are you doing? You need to stay here. Before I could say a word, he's like, no, he's allowed to go there. Leave him alone. And I was like, what a homie. But yeah. God, the school system, God, it's such a painful topic.
Yeah. But, like, my concern... But, like, my whole inner demons with the school system isn't necessarily about, like the people you'll experience, because, like, by the time I was, like, we were in high school, I was, like, I know I know all these motherfuckers are just talk. If they try anything, I know I could probably easily just kill them, but, like... Yeah. But, so, that wasn't my fear. I just, like... And I have a feeling they started knowing that, because apparently by the time I was, like, in 10th grade, and specifically this was in my English class, there was this one guy who didn't say any threat. What he would do to annoy people was he would just act like a fucking mentally, like, disabled person, even though he very clearly was not. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is he would, like, scream for, like, no reason. And every time he would do it, I would just say to his face, I don't speak stroke victim.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah. See, if you don't show any fear towards the dumbasses, then they're not going to have anything to work with.
Yeah. And most of the time, my teachers didn't... I'm pretty sure there were legitimately times where my teachers forgot I was even in the class. That's how unnoticeable I was because I was so well behaved. Mm-hmm. Like, they're so worried about all the kids that are probably going to say some dumbass fuck shit that I basically become a ghost and they don't even remember I'm there.
Yeah. I mean, probably not the worst way to have it go about.
Yeah. So, but, like, again, it's not people that were my personal beef with the school system. My personal beef with the school system is the actual material. Mm. So, and this is something that a YouTuber has also, a YouTuber musician. He's like a YouTuber musician, and he also has done that. His name's Dave, goes by the username Boy in a Band, or something like that.
Dave. Yeah, it is Boy in a Band.
And he made a song called Don't Stay in School, and it was about how what we learn in school is so unbelievably pointless.
It is, because like I said before,
yeah, certain.
I don't know how to do fucking basic math.
Yeah, there are some things that we do need to learn, but who's gonna remember stuff like, I don't know, the order of operations or fucking
yeah.
Listen here, insert math teacher name. I haven't used Pythagorean theorem ever since I left.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
I can probably pull up the lyrics.
I mean, I can understand like the I can understand like health classes if we need to learn like if we're planning to become like I don't know, a biologist or something like that.
But like the important shit that we really needed to know about life, we didn't get taught.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let like some of his lyrics do the talking here because it's basically my exact opinion.
Okay.
Literally, the song opens up with these words. I wasn't taught how to get a job, but I can remember dissecting a frog. I wasn't taught how to pay tax, but I know a lot about Shakespeare's classics. Like, and this is like...
God, it's so true.
And, like, this is literally the entire point on the... Like, here's another one. Let me repeat. I was not taught the laws for the country I live in, but I know how Henry VIII killed his women. Like...
That's clever.
This is literally like his entire song. He points out stuff we actually learn, like, poetry, the Pythagorean theorem, or the order of operations. Like,
I left that school and I still haven't found
poetry,
X.
If you want to become an author, yeah.
It's like this. All right. Don't mind the noise. We got a bathroom break, but
Continue talking, I'll be back.
But, like, here's another one. Yeah, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. That is an entire math formula that will get drilled into your brain to the point where even this guy remembers it after so long.
Yeah, that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
And here's the kicker. That formula is fucking pointless. Everything you learn in the American education system is shit you will not use in real life, despite the fact that they say you will. You will fucking not. And, like, the stuff he actually does talk about learning about, I'll get there. Until our third member comes back from the bathroom, I'm just going to keep going over the stuff we actually do learn, like, abstract maths was deemed more important, instead I studied the old never spent a lesson on current events, instead I studied the American West.
I was never taught what laws there were.
Yeah. This guy goes on and on about the stuff we actually learn. Let me go over the 4 basic subjects in America. You learn English, which, for the most part, you're reading old books and poetry. That's usually what you learn in English, especially high school English, and you write essays. You have math, where you learn stuff like trigonometry, algebra, stuff relating to triangles and fractions. You have history, where you learn about, the world's history, like, the World Wars, the Civil War, the Cold War, mostly war. And then you have the sciences, where you learn stuff like, now, the sciences are the subject I'm willing to give the least leeway, because the stuff you actually learn there is pretty cool. Like, it's at least, science is at the least interesting, but the other 3, the stuff you're learning is not only pointless, but it's a snore. God, if you gave me only half the sleep that you would normally require, if you gave me only 4 hours of sleep and put me in an English class, boy, I'ma pass out.
Unless you're a bookworm like I am.
And it's like, and like, I'm not dissing people who read, I'm dissing that reading in general is what's deemed important and mandatory to learn. It's like, if people want to read, they'll read, but don't force everyone to do it and then make them answer convoluted questions. I'm gonna get back to the English thing once, again, we get our co-host back.
Let's continue.
But yeah, it's like, I don't even, God, here's this one. I'm only fluent in this language. For serious, the rest of the world speaks too. Do you think I'm an idiot? People people in America usually only grow up speaking English, and they cannot speak anything else. I took a Spanish lesson. I'm gonna be real with you. It's not that hard, Chief. Here, like, in order to greet yourself in Spanish, I would say, Hola, me llamo Lucio. ¿Cómo estás? That's a Spanish greeting. It's not that hard. I haven't taken those English classes in those like Spanish classes in several years, and I still know how to greet someone in that language. Like, speaking another language is not hard, but in America, it's just deemed that falls by the wayside. Speaking another language is an elective in like the American education system, but in reality, it's probably more important. Here's another thing, like health classes, where you learn about diseases, and it also kind of functions as sexual education too. And it's like, that stuff's actually important. I didn't mind taking that class, because the information I got is stuff that's important, like, you know, important stuff, like what alcohol does to you, what drugs do to you, what cigarettes do to you.
What certain diseases actually affect what body. You see the theme here? The more important stuffs are purely electives. Like, stuff that you can skip over.
Yeah. Sometimes your school will make dabbling in it a little bit necessary to graduate, but for the most part, it's not the, quote, main 4 subjects. And even of those 4, history and science are like inferior to, quote, inferior to math and English. They literally have these days where they stick you in a room for like an hour straight and make you take this test on like a tablet or a laptop regarding either English or math, and you just sit there for like an hour and a half a day just taking that quiz, going question by question about stuff that you probably didn't even actually learn. And to be fair, you are still likely to pass. And this is one of the most bullshit things I've ever seen. So, these tests, at least when I took them, they would grade you on a scale of 1 to 5. And 3 is what you had to get. However, and I got a 3. I had passed the test. However, there was one day where they were like, oh, we might make people who got 3s as well also retake the test, just so they can, just to be doubly sure on their competence. It's like, that's a cover-up. That's a cover-up. Not only is your cover-up sound douchey, like, you couldn't even be bothered to make your cover-up story sound not douchey, but everyone knows that the real reason why you're making the people who got 3s also retake it is just so you can get a greater average and therefore get more money as a school. And this is also why, and this is another thing that's a problem with the school system, they need you to double verify some shit when you miss a day of school, because, and the reason why they're so strict about it is because their money, the money the school gets, is based on the attendance of the students. The more people that miss school, the less money they get, which is why they basically made it a law that you have to attend school, just because they're greedy and they can get money out of it. Did you know that? And it's like, god diddly damn, bro. How pathetic can you be? And like, and here's the thing, like, here are the classes I took in like high school for math. I took Algebra 1, I took Trig, I took Algebra 2, then I took Introduction to Statistics. And it's like, all that stuff is pointless. I don't remember shit about algebra or trig. The only thing I vaguely remember is statistics, but that's because I was already good at statistics. Statistics is like my specialty, and that's why I was so good at that, and I was able to get by there. And like, here's how bad the school system is. During my senior year, I legitimately had to like stop taking certain elective classes so I had time to catch up on my work. Because I wasn't doing my work, because the classes and assignments they were giving us were just so boring by that point. The class I had to catch up the most with was my English class, because it's like, bro, I'm literally just doing the exact same class I took 3 times already. I legitimately spent most of my day actually at school watching YouTube on my tablet, rather than actually getting on the school's like little laptop and doing the assignments I was supposed to. And it's like, what is it like? And this is like just what the problem is with the education system. We are learning this stuff, and like I'm trying to keep this idea going until our host comes back. I'm gonna send him a message and see if he can hear me or like see my messages. But like you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, speak out. Go ahead and give the audience some of what you've experienced, like some of the stuff you've had to learn that you think is pointless.
To be honest, a lot of the stuff that I've learned, like I said before, I'm a massive bookworm, and unless I'm becoming an author, I really don't see how reading shit is supposed to make me become a better author. Maybe I can get some ideas from other people, but that doesn't teach me anything.
Oh, crap.
What? What just happened?
Left his iPad. No, not the phone.
What?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
But he left his iPad here, so
Oh, that explains it.
I think I hear him come back anyway. But all right, good timing. So what we're gonna do now is, since I'm pretty sure, okay, yeah, our third host is coming back. So let's get into the part I was holding on at. So let's talk about what we should actually be learning in school now that we're done ripping on what they make us learn.
Sorry about that, everyone. I almost shit my pants.
Because
Have
yeah.
to be honest with him.
So to catch you up, we spent the last good few minutes. Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we spent the last good few minutes you were in there. We were talking about how the stuff we learn is just pointless. Like,
Agreed.
English, like, I went over English, math, history, and science. Science is the only one of the 4 main subjects you have to learn that I will give a pass to.
I did like science.
History, math, and English are all like stuff they say, oh, you gotta learn this because you're gonna use it. Guess what, Chief? I'm here a year later, haven't used a damn thing.
I don't need to use any of that for the job that I have. Because they kind of have these expectations like, oh, we're all going to be fucking lawyers or doctors. Or it's just like, sorry, but not everyone's going to do that. Like...
So yeah, let's talk about what we should actually be learning in school. And we delved into a little bit on this. And the stuff you actually probably should be learning is the stuff you learn in those optional elective classes.
Exactly.
Like let's talk about health.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say health class. Like me and him were talking about while you were in there. The stuff you learn there is, oh, what do mental diseases do to people? Mm-hmm. What do regular diseases do to people? What do sexual diseases do to people?
It's like,
what do drugs...
You need to be good to learn the shit you need.
What do drugs do to people? What do cigarettes do to people? What does alcohol do to people? Why should you not drink and drive?
Yeah.
Or be mindful of what you eat, because that is important. Mm-hmm. You hear it all the time, and because you hear it so much, you think, it's probably not actually that important, but it actually genuinely is pretty important.
Yeah, I have noticed the shit that is important is the shit that you, have to, be, amazing to even be able to do that class.
Here's one of these. Here's another one. Here's some more lyrics from the song. It's they say it's not the kids, the parents are the problem. Then if you taught the kids to parent, that's the problem solved.
Yeah.
Or how about this? How about this? I'm only fluent in this language, but the rest of the world speaks too. Like, people in, like we said already, people in America grow up only knowing like English, and it's like because because apparently we think, oh, knowing two is complicated, but like I previously showed while you were gone, I can greet you in Spanish. Hola, me llamo Lucio, ¿cómo estás? Like, it's not that hard. When I took that Spanish class, that was years ago, and I still remember how to greet you in Spanish. Another language is not that hard. Or like...
English is kind of one of the hardest languages, because we got so much fucking pointless shit.
Yeah. This is probably like my favorite part of the song, because it's the one I connect with personally. It's like... I'm gonna keep reading off the song lyrics.
Okay.
It starts with like a math formula. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. They made me learn that over basic first aid, or how to recognize the most deadly mental disorders, or diseases with preventable causes, or how to buy a house with a mortgage if I could afford it, because abstract maths was deemed more important.
Yeah, it's just fucking insane, the shit that they deem is important over the shit that is actually important.
Yeah. Yeah. Could we discuss domestic abuse and get the facts, or how to help my depressed friend with a mental state? No. Learn mental maths, because you won't have a calculator with you every day, and in the music video, when he says that line, he pulls out his phone.
Exactly.
It's like, yes, we do. We do have a calculator with us every day, and we have a more reliable way of just looking it up. If you go to an office job, they're not going to say, don't use a calculator.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like, and like this song just speaks volumes of everything I believe in for the school system.
Yeah.
The stuff...
It makes sense. Like, the shit we're learning is not the important shit. And the shit we're not is what...
The stuff that is the mandatory subjects is the shit that should be the electives. And the stuff that's the electives is the shit we probably should be learning.
Exactly.
Like health class, or financial class. Like financial advice, health class. Or, another language in case you run into someone you're going to have to communicate with. Like, stuff like that is leagues more important. Like, learning how to do your taxes. Or how to budget for stuff. How to manage your money.
They don't teach us that shit. There are classes like, oh, if you're good enough, you can have them. Like, that should be accessible to everyone.
Like, people in America are sent out into the real world not knowing how to handle themselves. And that's why this has become such a problem. And, it just keeps getting worse. And it's spreading, it's going even outside the school system. Right now, because of what's going on in the world, people don't want to work. And the reason people don't want to work is because they know if they get a job, they're not going to be able to know how to do it, because their bosses won't even want to train them. And then their bosses are going to get mad that they can't do the job they didn't train them to do.
Exactly, and I have, personal experience with that. The job I had before, the one I have now, that I don't like to say that I'm good at it, but I know how to do it, is where I'm at.
Actually,
because I was actually trained properly, unlike other fucking jobs.
And this is just a problem that I greatly have. And here's another thing. All this stuff, learning what you... the fact that we have to learn stuff like health, taxes, and other languages, chances are the reason why we really should be learning that instead of that is because that stuff helps us get a job.
Yeah.
And and this is another thing I just have. This is a reason why I think humanity is flawed, is because we have to do stuff for money to get stuff.
Yeah.
If humanity was really there's a world, which I would rather have, where humanity was just superior, where we would get stuff like, people have to get paid to cut down trees to get wood, and then they ship it out to people to use it in products for more money. But it's like, in an ideal world, we're able to look past the need for a credit. In an ideal world, people would just do and give to each other and make a prime society. People would go out and get wood and build stuff, just because it's what would make society better, not for
Exactly.
money.
Yeah. Our whole world is corrupted over, like, the need for more money, when it's just, like... And then the non-wanting to, like, help people in actual need, like...
And, like, yeah, and here's another thing. I had this conversation with, like, you were in the bathroom.
Mhm.
Here's a reason why it's, like, school is a mandatory thing to begin with. Because the more people that attend a school, the more money the school gets. That's why it's literally a law that children have to go to school, and why when you miss, like, school days, they have to basically make you double verify it with a doctor's note or some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Because all they care about is that you're there, so they get the money for you being there.
Exactly. And it's like, people wouldn't have much of a problem with that if you taught the important shit in the school. Meanwhile, it feels like completely pointless, like, what,
Like-
10 hours of the day?
About 6.
So
So-
it feels longer.
So,
6 to 8.
yeah, something Nathaniel mentioned was that he reads a lot, and it's like, I'm not ripping into people that like reading. If you want to read, read!
Yeah.
It's a good thing, actually. You should read. It gets your brain going.
Yeah.
But, like...
Brain food.
But, like, don't make everyone required to read and then write bullshit. English is the subject I have the most beef with, because the essays are the most
Yes.
pointless
Yeah.
shit. I have,
I'm dyslexic, and I was made fun of it a lot in younger years in school, like elementary, like in the early middle. Like, and I'm dyslexic, and like I would always like, I distinctly remember, even in high school, like some of the teachers would like constantly like fucking like borderline make fun of me because I can't read out loud. You know this because I stutter nonstop. It
Yeah.
gives me anxiety,
But, like,
and they don't like care
let
about
me-
a kid's like reason for that.
let me tell y'all a personal story about, like, my grudge with the worst part is that the assignments you get are probably not even about the important parts of the book.
Mhm.
It's like, let me give you an idea. I'm sure you've heard of the story The Great Gatsby.
Yes.
I had it in 1 year of high school English. And the reason I have the most beef with English of all things is because for, like, history and math, at least every year you're learning something different, so you're doing something else. English is literally the exact same class every year.
And I must say, I'm guilty of really liking The Great Gatsby.
I'm not saying it's a bad story, I'm just saying it gets a bad rap because of what schools use it for.
Exactly.
But I had to, and they make us take a quiz to make sure you're reading the book.
Mm-hmm.
The questions on the test are about the most trivial bullshit parts of the story. Like,
Exactly.
instead of saying, oh, instead of asking, oh, what is the significance of Gatsby's desire to be wealthy, and it's like, oh, so he can be with the love of his life again.
Yeah.
That would be the answer, so he can be with the love of his life again. But no, instead they ask you the bullshit questions, like, what color was the light that Gatsby is staring at across the lake? It's like, who fucking saw that?
You're not actively paying attention because that shit doesn't matter. It's not important.
Or what did this one character say to another?
Yeah, like something that's just so minute and like not important. Like they focus on that shit. It's the are you paying attention part, not like are you understanding the book.
Yeah, it's not are you understanding, it's just are you doing it?
Yeah,
But,
and
like,
that irks me a lot.
and here's another thing. If you're gonna, like, yes, there are some skills you learn in these classes that are useful, but the stuff they really focus on is the stuff that you're going to use less. But, like, here's an example. Like, writing professionally, yeah, that's useful. You are going to write professionally. But what you're not going to do is write a fucking 5-paragraph essay when you want to talk to someone and say, hey, hey, there's a meeting Friday.
Yeah.
It's like, and like I took a class dedicated to just learning how to write professionally, and I loved that class because it focused on what's important in literacy.
Yeah.
And and I had a teacher that did handle, like, I'm willing to guess she knew how we felt, and I guess she sort of related to how we feel about, like, the information like that. It's like, oh, it's pointless. So I had a teacher, and it was in my senior year at BISFA. She knew what it was, so she had fun with it. Like, oh, we're going to learn about some of Shakespeare stuff. So what she did was she made a fun assignment where she took lyrics from popular songs and worded them in Shakespeare fashion, and we had to guess
See, I love when teachers did shit like that because it happened so little that when it happened, it was like, oh, like, a teacher that can teach and be good at their job and not an asshole.
Yeah, it's like she took lyrics from popular songs and she made them Shakespearean, and we had to guess what they were. And it's like, yo, that's a good assignment.
Yeah.
Not writing an essay for the 15th time this year.
Exactly.
It's like, goddamn. Maybe, like, if you're gonna write one essay, like, writing one essay, or maybe two, that's fine, that's healthy. But don't make it literally like every assignment in the class. It's like, and here's another thing. Let's talk about the main issue math has, and that's the stupid ass word problems.
Someone take Johnny's 50 million watermelons away.
And here's the one I always use as an example. I'm sure both of you heard me talk about this one before. This is a word problem that I remember because of how stupid it was, and that's saying a lot. It was in a trig class, which for those of you who can probably guess, trig is about triangles. It was like, this kid, I don't remember the name they used in the problem, he walked in a triangular pattern around the lake. I'm like, who does that?
For real, though.
Who does that? Who walks in a triangle around a lake?
Yeah.
Unless they're trying to do some weird Illuminati ritual.
And then they have the other word problems, like, oh, you have a bag full of like 60 marbles, and it's like, who dedicates their time to that?
For real.
Who goes to the store and buys like 50 lemons? And it's like, and I knew a teacher that could, this is not one I knew personally because they weren't at our school, but people have talked about their teacher doing it, so I know they exist. There was a teacher who knew about this, and so she did it cool. This was for a physics class, and physics is like one of those more advanced maths, something you'll probably learn in college, which is just a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah.
First off, the fact that college costs so much money is bullshit.
It is. It really is.
Because it's basically mandatory to get any job beyond basic service.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, they're just more debt to pay Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I'm lucky with the job I have now. College ain't a thing I fucking need. Nor is it a thing I want.
like, and if you want to go to college, then
Like,
go.
by all means, like, that is perfectly fine. It's just like, it's our personal belief, like, that's just fucking ridiculous.
If you want to go to college, then go to college. But we're saying the fact that college is the way it is ridiculous.
It's insane.
Like, if you still want to go into it knowing how ridiculous it is, then you know what? That's more power to you.
Exactly.
But, like, we just think, in general, it's ridiculous that it's like this. Some people are willing to go the extra mile and do it anyway, and it's like, hey, props to them. You're probably going to become a doctor who will help so many people, and you're doing so much good.
Exactly.
Great job.
It's just, it's not for everyone.
It's not.
And I hate that, because, like, there's, like, one specific side of my family that, like, is like, college is a requirement. You need to go. It's like, fun fact, not every fucking job you need college for, and they're like, well, that's not a real job. I'm like, newsflash, old bitch. If it pays money and I'm working, fun fact, it's a job. Like, I hate the logic where it's just like, oh, you do such and such, that's not a real job. Like, am I making money off of it? It's a job then.
Yeah. Trust me. A real job doesn't always have to be some corporate jag-off.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes even working under the table is still considered a real job.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, there was this teacher, and like I said, the reason the college got into the subject is because it was about physics, which chances are you'll learn about in college rather than high school.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're just really ahead of your math.
Yeah.
But
Which
like,
some people are.
but like, physics, there was this physics teacher. She made a very funny word problem. Like, she made the word problems in a way where the kids would laugh. Like, Justin Bieber is thrown out of a window at 8 miles per hour.
So we need more shit like that.
It's like
I would have loved to be in that class.
Yeah.
it's like it's especially great if the teacher has fun with you.
Yeah.
Because they understand, and I feel like stuff like this. Here's the main issue with problems, and this also kind of ties to like real serious problems as well, like people who have mental disorders or like are bullied because they're in some sort of minority, whether it be a race-based minority, a belief-based minority, or like a preference in life-based minority like LGBTQ.
Yeah.
People who suffer because of those minorities, the reason these problems last so long is because it takes so long for people to get into a position where they can actually have an influence on that. So chances are these problems have to go on for multiple decades before someone who's been on the receiving end of the problem can get into a position where they can help stop it.
Yeah.
So I feel like since, and you know, the school system getting more and more shitty has actually been, in my opinion, a more recent thing. So who knows, by the time we're adults, people who have also been in our generation, in our own grades, who also experience this bullshit, are gonna realize this, and they're gonna like have power to influence the school system.
I have a friend. She really wants to be a teacher for these exact reasons. Like, she's like, the school taught me fucking jack shit. Was horrible at it. I want to become a teacher so I can actually, like, do good. Have fun with the students. Actually do a good job. Like, those are her exact words. And I'm like, please do. We need more people like that.
Yeah. And not just, like, teachers. Like, not only will they be teachers, but also, like, ascend the ranks all the way up to, like, be like the superintendent and just make the school under you better.
Yeah.
But like the problem with these issues is that it takes most likely decades for people who have experienced these problems on the receiving end to get into a position where they can actually fix it.
Yeah.
And like that's why problems like this last so long, because like here's a thing. A problem still going on in America is that we have politicians who are still like homophobic and stuff like that. Yeah. And the reason why is because in order to become a politician, you have to basically be past your middle age. Yeah. And that takes decades. So people who are on the receiving end of this discrimination, they're gonna have to go through like decades of rising the ranks to get to a position where they can finally be the politician who puts an end to that.
Exactly. And hopefully, you know, like that does happen.
Like, let's talk about Abraham Lincoln. He ended slavery, and obviously he wasn't like on the receiving end of slavery, but like he saw the people that did believe in slavery, and he thought, man, those guys are dicks, and that he probably couldn't do anything, and he couldn't do anything about it until he was able to become president. Yeah, and what do you know? He did. Yeah. And like this is how issues like this become so long lasting, because in order to be able to do something about it,
someone has to like understand that that's wrong and then try to fix it.
Someone has to understand it's wrong, either from witnessing someone do it to someone else or be on the receiving end.
Yeah.
And then they have to go through the decades it takes to actually get to a position where they can do something about it.
Yeah.
And like it's such a flawed system.
It really is. And it's like, I hope one day, like, we might even not be alive by the time, like, things get changed for the better. But I really hope someday things will be changed for the better and, like, we can respect everyone as a human being. And, like, you know,
but no,
hopefully one day.
But no, apparently treating humans as humans is just really hard.
Yeah,
it's like...
It's really not hard. People are just ungrateful bastards. Like... We're all humans.
And the worst part is, if you try to ask someone why they like, if you actually sit down with someone who believes in these like horrible judgments, and they're actually willing to sit down and discuss why do you believe in it, chances are what they say is not gonna be an actual viable thing.
Exactly.
Like it's a stereotype. Like the common stereotype is, oh, Christians hate gay people, and it's like, oh, because it says in the Bible homosexuality is a sin. I'm like, motherfucker, cite me the page.
Yeah.
Cite me the page. Guess what? You probably can't.
It's like been feeding like lies and lies throughout the year. It's just like, oh, you don't want to bother changing it because that's how you grew up. You want to keep living that way, and that's like you have the ability to change. You do, but they just won't.
And here's the thing: discrimination is all the like this is what I've been setting up. Discrimination is also just the result of one big fat game of telephone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just things being said from one generation to the next that slowly get corrupt into the wrong idea.
Yeah.
And then once you hit rock bottom, no one wants to put in the effort of climbing it back up. So people grow up with the idea that black people or gay people are actually bad when they're not.
Yeah.
They think like you and me.
It sucks because people do have the ability to change their opinion and see that what they're believing in right now is just completely wrong, but they just won't.
And the worst part is this is why I think there should be some like leeways. Like if you like, for example, let me give an example. Say you see someone like getting on someone's case for being like just for being a minority.
Mm-hmm.
You should be allowed to beat the shit out of that person
I think so.
legally.
Yeah.
You should be allowed to just beat the fuck out of that person, get no legal repercussions, just so that person learns what it is.
Some people won't even fucking learn if that doesn't happen. Like, they need to be fucking taught a lesson. Like,
If you invest $100 and it goes to $200, you made a $100 profit. If you spend $100 on shoes, the shoes didn't cost you $100, they cost you $200. Opportunity cost is the potential future value of the money that you spend.
what?
Think like an investor.
Oh, okay.
See, that's more that's more informative than anything that they teach you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand what you were going on about at first.
Yeah. See? He just spouted some random bullshit he found on the internet, and it was somehow more useful advice.
Exactly.
YouTube, even.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest stereotypes about education, the Indian YouTubers.
Oh, yeah. My favorite YouTube channels ever.
So, for those of you who don't know, there's a stereotype known as the Indian YouTuber, where it's like, and yes, there is a reason it's called that, is because chances are it's an Indian YouTuber, and they teach you actually valuable stuff. No joke, there was once, I saw this, it was a video by one of these guys, it's like teaching you how to unclog your toilet. Mm-hmm. And one of the comments I saw, and because it was like a highlight image, one of the highlighted comments was thanks, no one, legitimately no one ever taught me this. And like, the guy was thankful.
Yeah.
It's like
it's sad that like I don't want to word it like it's sad that you have to go on YouTube to find that, because that's like, no, that's not what I mean.
I deliberately wrote an essay for my English 12 class about the fact that YouTube can be more informative over what school teaches you, but people don't believe that because school just has the upper bias.
Yeah. Also, like, the people that, like, say being a YouTuber isn't a real job, even if you're fucking making more money than half of these people can even dream of.
Yeah.
Well, that is if YouTube doesn't...
Let me dive both of you into the essay I wrote.
Okay.
So the essay I wrote, it was like, our English teacher gave us one simple prompt. Write an essay about something you are passionate about. Mm-hmm. And obviously I chose the flaws in the education system.
Yeah.
But specifically like this. I wrote an essay about how I learned that horseshoe crab blood is what's used to test human medicines, because the bloods are strangely, like, they react in similar ways to the same things.
Yeah.
So the way I learned this is by watching medical people on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I deliberately wrote in my essay, so I opened up with, my introductory paragraph, and then where I went from there was I stated the fact, the horseshoe crab.
Yeah.
I stated the fact about the horseshoe crab blood, that it's used to test human medicines, and it's harvested in a humane way. They collect horseshoe crabs, take enough of their blood that they're able to use, but not enough to kill the crab. They give the crabs time to recover from the taken blood, and then they put them back. And it's a humane process.
Yeah.
And they use that blood to test medicine, so that way they don't, end up doing that on people and accidentally killing them.
Yeah.
So, and the way I learned this is by YouTube. So my second paragraph was how I learned you can't use second person in essays, but basically the gist of the paragraph was, do you know how I learned this? YouTube. The education, and then I went on how the education system is so quick to judge YouTube and discredit it as a valuable source. And that was basically my entire point of this essay. I learned this really interesting and genuine fact about the medical field, which is actually fairly interesting knowledge, through YouTube, and not anything that the school system put in my curriculum.
Exactly.
And that was the entire point of my essay. I don't remember what grade I got for it, but I'm pretty sure it was a pretty good one.
Okay, yeah.
And it's this is another thing. It's basic medical advice is something that should also be required for a person to know.
I agree, yeah.
I'm not saying every person has to be able to do surgery, but any person on the street should say someone has
if someone's having that person's having a seizure or something.
Yeah, or a heart attack.
Yeah.
Most of the people around that person should be able to see that and be able to help them get past it while they're getting 911 there. Yeah. Granted, yes, you can get a CPR license.
Yeah.
I don't have a license to do CPR, but I know how to do it. And
I actually do as well.
And because I legitimately watch doctors on YouTube, and I gain so much knowledge on that. I gain so much knowledge on the medical field. If someone, their heart stops pumping, you do chest compressions to try and get them back.
Yeah.
Or how the human body, when describing burns, is divided into 9% segments.
Yeah.
I learned these interesting facts in genuine medical advice. Thanks to medical people on YouTube, I now know what jaundice is, what the causes are, and, how to hopefully help someone who has it.
Yeah.
You learn stuff. It's
stuff that you definitely wouldn't have learned in school because they don't fucking teach it to you.
Yeah. How long have we been going on this for?
Well, currently it's 10:53.
We started at 9:30.
So we've been going for about an hour.
Hour and a half.
Alright, well that's usually the upper limit of the podcast.
Yeah.
So do we maybe want to start wrapping it up?
Yeah, I think we've talked a very good bit about all this.
But yeah, and again, for people at home, the reason why I rant on the education system took most of that is because it's genuinely just so flawed.
Yeah, it really is.
And we all have experience of how dumb it is.
And again, that's not... And I want to be very, saying this, because, some people will say, oh, you're talking about the education system, not all of it's bad. I agree. Not all of it's bad. And there can be good teachers. Because, it's just so uncommon now. there are teachers, like you said, like that can have fun with the assignments by still doing their job, but making it like better to understand and more fun for their students.
More engaging.
Yeah.
Like, I struggled with English 12. So I struggled with my senior year of English. Fun fact, I had to take... actually, no, it wasn't English 12, it was English 10, because I had to retake English 10 in my senior year because the person who taught me during my actual sophomore year, just their assignments were just such bullshit, and I couldn't engage, so I had to retake that. Guess what? My second teacher did it better,
Yeah.
because she understood what it meant to, like, actually be engaging.
Yeah.
And then I still had to catch up with some assignments sometimes, because the assignments that were forced by the curriculum, what's beyond even the teacher's control, what was forced by the curriculum was just such a snore by that point. I legitimately spent my actual school hours just watching YouTube, and instead would do the assignments when I felt like, okay, well, here we go again.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that we had very good conversations about that. Like, things that piss us off, but for actually good reasons.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was,
Things
I
that
guess,
piss
this
us
week's
off.
episode. I don't know. We don't do this by weeks.
Yeah, we just do
We're
it.
going to record another episode shortly after this, but you guys are probably seeing this. I don't know. You're listening to it now, so you know. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.